In an earlier video, I touched on the different types of buildings that you could potentially be renting in the area. I just want to take a deeper dive into that. As I mentioned, there's two main types of buildings that you could potentially be renting in. One is an exclusive rental building. That could be a large scale building or a complex like the shipyard in Hoboken, where you have a single corporation that owns the entire complex or the entire high rise. It could also be a single landlord that owns a smaller building. So it could be like an 8-unit building in Hoboken or downtown Jersey City, for example, walk-up style that, it's a family that owns the property. They've owned it for a while. So you have a single landlord that owns entire buildings. So that could be corporations or individuals, small scale, medium scale, large scale. I've seen, we're talking buildings ranging from 2 units up to 200 plus units in the area. So you have the single corporation or single landlord buildings. Then which also I refer to as exclusive rental buildings, meaning that you cannot purchase in them. The other option would be a condominium building, which you would be able to purchase in. If you were to rent in a condominium building, you are going to be renting from an individual who owns that particular unit. So in a condominium, say Hudson T building in Hoboken, for example, there's over 500 condominium apartments in that complex, in that condo association. Each unit is owned by a different person. So when you're renting a condominium, you're renting from an individual who owns the unit. You could also buy a condo in a condo association if it's for sale, and you could potentially rent out that unit and become a landlord and to find a tenant. You cannot do that in an exclusive rental building. Exclusive rental buildings, you can only rent, you cannot buy the unit unless it converts to condo, which is a conversation for another time. But in a condominium building, you will be renting from a single landlord who owns that unit only. So what are the pros and cons? In a exclusive rental building, traditionally there is no broker fee involved. So they usually have an on-site leasing office. You would deal directly with them. As agents, we can also bring you to those offices as well. Sometimes they do cooperate, but traditionally there is no fee with an exclusive rental building. Their leases tend to be more restrictive. And really traditionally do not, from my experience, allow for early termination. So with an exclusive rental building, many times they're going to hold you to the term of that lease. If you were to break the lease, sometimes there would be penalty involved where you could potentially owe the balance of the lease or some sort of exit penalty. Exclusive rental buildings, usually there's an on-site super that handles everything. If you have a problem, you contact them, etc. They maintain everything. In the condominium side of renting, you're dealing directly with a landlord who also, they are dealing directly probably with the property manager who oversees the condo association. So with an exclusive rental building, your landlord would be your point of contact for that unit, not the property manager of the building. The property manager works for the owners of a condominium association. So sometimes the condo owner might live overseas, they might live out of state. So just take that into consideration. If there's an issue in the apartment, on how quickly you'll be able to get in touch with that person. Usually in the exclusive rental buildings, there's a super, you just pick up the phone, you call them. Usually in the condo buildings, though, if there is like a water leak or something, you could go to management right away because they usually want to handle those things. But if you have like a broken oven, for example, you would go directly to your landlord in a condo building. Management is not involved at all. In a condominium building, there's also the possibility that in the future, if you're renting, the owner may sell the unit, which means that unless an investor was to buy the unit, if it's an owner-occupied situation where the person purchasing it wants to owner-occupy, you would have to move out with 60 days notice to vacate, and your lease would be terminated. There is a clause in the leases in New Jersey that if it's a condominium, the lease can be broken. And the owner can sell the unit. So it's always a possibility that the owner could sell the unit in a condo. In an exclusive rental building, less likely, because unless they could sell the building and you'll have a new landlord, or they could convert the building into condos, at which point you would be given like several years of notice if that's happening. So there are pros and cons to renting in each building, whether you're going the exclusive rental route or the condominium route. Some people prefer condominium buildings. They feel they're better maintained. They like the amenities better. Some people prefer exclusive rental buildings. Many of the higher level or more amenity filled exclusive rental buildings in the area that are newer have really pumped up the amenities with outdoor pools and big fitness centers. In the condo side, especially in Hoboken, there aren't that many like full service buildings. There's a lot more on the exclusive rental side that offer a lot of amenities. But some people, like, they love the way a building looks, like Hudson T, for example, the loft like ceilings. There's not too many exclusive rental buildings that offer something like that. So people end up saying, I want to live in that rental in the T building. I want to rent. So there are pros and cons to weigh. But if you have any further questions about this, you can reach out to me at 347-448-3766 or Walter at livingonthehudson.com. Thank you.